Alright guys, so a week or so ago I put up a post saying that I was going to talk to several of the points about the things we've been accused of over the last 9 months or so since Bentons Stand popped up, and really before that. I mean, dating back to 2012 when I just first started kind of speaking out about things I saw as problems. And what I realized is there's a kind of a game plan from the left. So this video is by no means for any of the haters, the detractors, the folks that no matter what I do or say, they're not going to be happy and they're going to attack. This is more for the folks who are friends, good acquaintances, and they kind of see what we're going through. They see some of the posts, some of the negativity, and I think just when I look into their eyes or see them in public, they're just maybe questioning or wondering what's going on. And so I felt compelled after talking to some close friends that maybe I just put out a video, and then that way it answers the questions, and be it good or bad, they'll at least know kind of what the intent is and where we're coming from. So we wanted to do it today. I thought it was a perfect day. So I'm driving the kids crazy with doing this right now. But we're at George Washington's estate, our first president, in Virginia, overlooking the Potomac. And you've got his mansion right behind us. Hey boys, hop in here with me. At least the two youngers. So you can see it's like an amazing view. You've got a huge farm. It used to be 8,000 acres. And then it just looks over what they used to call the Potomac. But now it's the Potomac River is what we call it. So the first video is on, well, we'll do it about brainwashing kids. So, am I brainwashing my kids? That's a good question. Am I brainwashing you?
How do you do it?
I don't know.
You probably wouldn't know, would you? Benton, what do you think? Am I brainwashing you?
No.
No. And you might know. He's pretty wise for his age, but I have no idea. I don't know if you can turn it to yourself, Roland, but am I brainwashing you?
I don't think you are.
All right. Well, turn it back around. You on me?
Yep.
Okay. So here, I'll give a little bit of my background. Grew up in Abilene, Texas. You know, folks out there, simple, kind, generally Christian, a lot of common sense. Grew up working on ranches in the summers and trying to, do all that outside of Abilene. It teaches you a lot and teaches you how to kind of apply basic logic, deduction, and reasoning. You just have to figure out things on your own. I wasn't necessarily raised in a Christian home. You know, I had a good mom, a good dad, but things could be a little bit chaotic in our home back then as well. Made plenty of mistakes in high school and in college. And towards the end of my college career, a gentleman named Rob Norris stepped into my life. He had lived in Abilene, moved out of Abilene to Arlington, and created a successful business. And as I looked at him, I just saw like he had become a Christian. He was financially successful. He had a wonderful family, was just great dad. And he started investing in me and sharing his time with me, showing me his businesses. He started giving me books or recommending books that I could read. Then another gentleman, Lewis Timberlake, stepped into my life, and he did more of the same for no personal benefit, no financial gain. They just were successful men who took me under their wing and wanted to share things. And it was fascinating because a lot of it was opposite of what I'd learned in school. And you guys don't have to stay here with me if y'all are going to get bored, but it was totally opposite. So I had to kind of forget everything that I had learned in school, in college, to become successful. And I'm not trying to boast. I'm not overly successful. There's tons of people more successful than me, but compared to what, as a kid growing up, what I thought I would become, it's just way different. And it's because these guys believed in me, and they encouraged me, and they taught me so much that I didn't know. And same, I watched my dad. He was a good man already, but he became a Christian. He converted his life over and turned it to Christ. And I watched how that softened his heart and made him into an even better man. So for me, I want to take all that and apply it and teach my children all of these things about business, about values, about finance, about politics, just things that I never really discussed growing up. So every January, we get together and do the same thing that I've done since I was 25 or 26. And our entire family, Jen, All three of the boys, even Asher, he's 1 year old. We set goals with him. He's going to not spit as much food out, whatever, but kind of a joke. So with these guys, we planned 6 different areas of our lives. Let me see if I can remember. So financial, the older boys have small little stock accounts, and then they can invest them and buy stocks, sell them. It encourages them to invest. Benton, he's got his own business, which we obviously help him with. He owes me quite a bit from fronting all the money to purchase the hot chocolate and the lemonade. So financial, professional, for the kids at school that they focus on, of what their goals are there. Physical, what are they going to be doing in sports? How are they going to stay fit and make healthy decisions? Spiritual, social responsibility, how are they going to help and give back to others? And I think that was 5. So there's one more in there, but anyways, you get the point. So we plan and we do goals with each other, and that teaches them this responsibility that I want them to have. The other piece of it, of why it's so important now, is we're at war, whether we want to admit it or not. And some of the things here kind of hit me about George Washington. He was a entrepreneur. He was a farmer. He would harvest 1 million fish a year out of this river, and then he would sell them, the excess, or he'd use it to feed everybody on his plantation. He had multiple different businesses. He left that to be the general to fight in the Revolutionary War, won that, became our first president, could have been president forever, but he said, no, the people need to be in power. You don't need a government in power. They'd fought against the British to win our freedom because they didn't want to be oppressed. And at one point, I think it's 1881, a British ship sailed up here, and they said, we're either going to burn down this house or you're going to stock our ship. And so the farm manager out here, he decided, okay, I'm going to stock the ship. He wrote George Washington a letter while he was off at war, and George Washington wrote back and said, I'm very sorry to hear of your loss, and I'm somewhat sorry to hear of my loss. However, I would have rathered they burn the plantation to the ground and it be left in rubble than stock and supply our enemy. See, he had this concept of God, country, family, others. And in the 8 years he fought, he was only here at his favorite place where he's buried. He was only here 8 days, maybe it's 6 days, because he was willing to fight for our country and do what it took. But today, are we actually willing to do it? Today, the war's not from outside, the war's within. So we have government control over a lot of aspects within our country. Every democracy, every republic is destined to fail. It's not whether it will fail, it's when. And the decline, if you study and research, is based on a lack of values and taking God out of the equation. Every great republic or democracy is founded on religion and freedom. But in time, politicians, people who are hungry for power, people who are greedy, figure out how to vote their way in, legislate their way in to the pockets of the people that they govern, and figure out how to get more power. Unfortunately, with my family background, my granddad being who he is, I know a lot about what people are willing to do to gain power and fuel their greed. So today, the battle is a leftist ideology, that they want to erode values by, at one point it was in our colleges, then in our high schools, now it's in our middle schools, to where they're trying to take God out of everything. They don't want values. They're trying to show that sin's okay, whether it's sex, whether it's any of these other areas. They're trying to push that onto our children. And as parents, I don't want to be brash, but you're foolish if you're not teaching your children good values to counteract what's being taught in our public school system. In addition, college, I'm not there yet, and it's going to be tough, but we speak with our money. In West Texas, we always say, you need to put your money where your mouth is. So our dollars are our voices. And if we keep paying in to colleges that are teaching an ideology that leads to nothing but failure in life, which they want They want people that rely on the government so that way they can control us. If that's all that we're pushing, or if that's what we're allowing, then that's on us. So we go from George Washington to now a place of, I get it, I was raised, you do not discuss politics or religion with other people. That was the baby boomer generation, that was the greatest generation. And I went to lunch with a guy from my Bible study a little while back, and he said, Shane, you're just kind of riling people up, and you need to just keep your mouth shut, be quiet, and not agitate them anymore. And I turned down and said, Mr. So-and-so, look, I appreciate where you come from, I respect you, but that attitude and mindset is what got us into this place, to where it's going to be way harder for us to fight to get it back. It's hard to maintain it, but it's way harder to regain it. So that's why I'm pushing on my kids and doing what we're doing. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see what the response is to this one. If it's good, then I'll do more. God bless.